Music plays such a huge part in everything that we do. It doesn't matter if you like jazz, hip-hop, country, rock, or any other genre of music. The type of music you listen to impacts your mood, how you spend your money, and even impacts the friends and close relationships that you have. Today we're going to be deep diving into what makes some music memorable and what makes others sound more generic or basic. To get us started, we're going to play a quick game. I'll share a short clip of a popular song that you might recognize, and I want you to do a few things. First, I want to see if you can figure out what movie it's from, and then second, what does it make you think of? Does it make you happy, sad, excited? Okay, here we go. If you guessed that it was the song Married Life from the movie Up, then you're 100% right. Even though I played less than 5 seconds of the song, I'm sure you could immediately associate it with a memory, and maybe even where you were when you first saw the movie, and so much more. Music has a way of doing this to us. Now I'm going to play another clip, and we're going to do the exact same exercise. This time I'll give you a hint though. It's going to be from an extremely popular survival horror video game series. When I press play, I want you to think of the same thing. Try and guess exactly what game it's from, and then try and think, how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel scared, nostalgic, maybe excited? Here we go. If you guessed that this was the save theme from Resident Evil 4, then you guessed right.
Ha, gotcha.
You see what I did there? You may not have known it, but this isn't actually the save theme from Resident Evil 4. What you just heard was the Pokemon Center theme from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. But even if you didn't know that it was a song from Pokemon, you had to have known that it didn't match the description that I was giving you. That cheery theme that you just heard did not match a survival horror game like Resident Evil. This is what that actually sounds like. It fits the setting of a survival horror game so much better, right? Well, this happens all the time with music. Because of the type of instruments used, the tempo of the song, plus the key that the song is played in, music can instantly create a sense of happiness, sadness, or even dread, depending on the combination of those three things. My wife and I recently watched the 2001 award-winning HBO miniseries Band of Brothers, and I immediately got the itch to watch Saving Private Ryan, The Pacific, and other mature-rated World War II era movies and TV shows. My brothers and I didn't really watch any of these growing up, and the only R-rated movie that we could watch was Die Hard, either because it was a Christmas movie or simply because our dad just really liked it. There was also that one time that our grandma let us watch Titanic with her. Not sure how that snuck past mom and dad. Anyway, because of that World War II itch, I started digging into how Band of Brothers was created, and I noticed something interesting that caught my eye when I was reading up on its producer, Steven Spielberg. It turns out that Steven Spielberg was an avid gamer since 1974, and in 2005, he collaborated with Electronic Arts, also known as EA, on several games, including one for the Wii called Boom Blox, as well as its sequel, Boom Blox Bash Party. He is also the creator of EA's Medal of Honor series. This fact absolutely blew my mind when I first read it, and I immediately began reading more about the development of the games that I loved so much as a kid. The first 13 Medal of Honor games were developed between 1999 and 2010. A few of those were mobile ports or DS and Game Boy Advance ports, but most of those released on home consoles. The more recent games that have released over the past decade did not receive great reviews. Back in the day, the first few games were the pinnacle of first-person shooter gaming. Not only were the single-player campaign missions engaging and fun to play, but the multiplayer was an absolute blast. When my 4 brothers and I were younger, it was one of the main games that we played when we got together with cousins, and we still have tons of great memories playing local multiplayer with them at family get-togethers and parties. These first few games focused on the World War II era, with the main character of each single-player campaign completing various tasks assigned to them from the Office of Strategic Services. All of these World War II era Medal of Honor games feature a soundtrack that for the most part is meant to encourage and inspire the player. The songs honestly glorify the military service that your character is about to take part in, and in most of the games you are tasked with saving the world by helping bring down Nazi Germany or the Empire of Japan, and it makes sense that they would have an epic soundtrack as a backdrop for what you're about to do. The intro to Medal of Honor Frontline honestly still gives me goosebumps to this day.
You're about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck. And lest us all beseech the blessings of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
More recent games made the jump to the modern era and focused on the early years of the United States' war in Afghanistan following the 9/11 terrorist attacks. To me, these games didn't capture the duty and honor that comes with serving your country as well as the World War II era games, and I think a big reason for that is because of the soundtrack. We'll get more into that later. I always thought it was such an interesting business move for EA to bring Medal of Honor to the modern era. They already had a successful modern era shooter with Battlefield, and ever since Battlefield 2 in 2005, their games had mostly been modern era first-person shooters. Because of this, Medal of Honor started to lose what made it special. EA even started blurring the lines between the two games with the release of Medal of Honor 2010, because although the single player was 100% unique, the multiplayer was honestly just a reskin of Battlefield's multiplayer. While the single player was built in Unreal Engine, the multiplayer was built using the Frostbite engine, which is what Battlefield uses. On top of that, Medal of Honor 2010's limited edition version included a beta for Battlefield 3's multiplayer, and then EA did the exact same thing with the release of Medal of Honor Warfighter in 2012, where they included a beta for Battlefield 4's multiplayer. With that being said, I continued digging into the development of the games, and it turns out that there were actually 3 main composers for all of the Medal of Honor games. And forgive me if I'm going to pronounce these names wrong. First off, you had Michael Giacchino, who composed the first few games of Medal of Honor. He composed the first game soundtrack, as well as Underground, Allied Assault, and Frontline. He then took a break to do a few side projects and came back in 2007 to do Medal of Honor Airborne. During this break, Christopher Lennertz composed the soundtracks for Rising Sun, Pacific Assault, and European Assault. He is known for composing the score for The Boys, the TV series on Amazon Prime, as well as the TV show Supernatural and Mass Effects 2 and 3. For the 2 modern era games, Medal of Honor 2010 as well as Medal of Honor Warfighter, Ramin Djawadi took the helm, and he added a Middle Eastern flavor to match the settings of the games. With that background on these amazing games out of the way, I'm now going to play some of the audio clips from a few of the main themes or the main intro themes from the Medal of Honor series. We're going to do the similar exercise like what we did earlier, and I want you to think of a few things. First, which game do you think that this is from? Is it from the Michael Giacchino era, the Christopher Lennertz era, or is it the Ramin Djawadi era? On top of that, does that particular song make you feel more heroic, or does it seem kind of generic? Here we go. Now, what does all of this have to do with The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Up? Do you remember how I said that Giacchino took a break to work on some side projects after Medal of Honor Frontline? Well, that side project was actually composing the score for The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Up, Cars 2, Star Trek Into Darkness, as well as other movies like Jurassic World later on. Because of the huge success that he had working on these movies, he mostly moved on from composing music for video games, and he focused on big blockbuster movies. This left Lennertz to take the mantle from Giacchino, who did an excellent job at conveying the same themes as Giacchino. He basically laid the foundation, and Lennertz just ran with it. It's honestly kind of hard to tell the difference between the two composers. However, when the franchise made the switch to the modern era, those same themes that Giacchino laid the groundwork for didn't translate over. The previously mentioned honor and duty to serve your country themes were replaced by a generic modern era shooter theme that could have easily been used on a Battlefield, Call of Duty, or any generic first-person shooter game. Nothing about the main themes in Warfighter or Medal of Honor 2010 stand out as anything particularly special, or give off the same energy as the World War II era games. To make sure we knew what we were talking about, my 4 brothers and I played through most of the World War II era Medal of Honor games, as well as the full 6 or so hour campaign of Medal of Honor 2010. And to be honest, it just feels like a typical first-person modern era shooter with nothing special baked in. The epic cutscenes that used to explain your mission that were present in the previous games are non-existent, and you're usually just thrown into the battlefield and learn about your mission as you travel to a key point of interest. The gameplay follows multiple protagonists that I honestly found kind of difficult to keep track of, and it led me to not remembering hardly any of the characters that you play as, besides the last guy, whose name is Rabbit. And that's only because your squad says his name a ton of times at the end.
Rabbit, get Rabbit free. Rabbit. Rabbit's lost a lot of blood. We got one with Rabbit. Keep it up, Rabbit. Back to Rabbit's really up.
Hey, Rabbit, hang in there.
Rabbit is bleeding to death. Rabbit's hanging on by a thread. Rabbit is gonna die. Rabbit. Rabbit.
What, behind the rabbit? It is the rabbit.
The graphics do look pretty dang good, and it's hard to believe that Medal of Honor Frontline was only 8 years older than this game. The gameplay feels pretty good, and the sound design is excellent too. But what made Medal of Honor great wasn't the state-of-the-art graphics or even the sound design. It was the heroic missions that you got to play through, as well as the music that tied it all together. Look, I don't think Ramin Djawadi is anything but an incredible composer. He composed the score for the first Iron Man movie, Game of Thrones, Pacific Rim, and so much more. He's an extremely talented composer. With that said though, the impact that Michael Giacchino had on the Medal of Honor franchise is something truly unique, and I don't think Ramin Djawadi was able to capture the same sense of duty and purpose as well as Giacchino or even Christopher Lennertz. It's a shame that Giacchino decided to move on to blockbuster movies instead of focusing on the Medal of Honor franchise. But honestly, who could blame him? He did a great job on all of those movies too. In 2020 actually, EA brought Giacchino back to compose the soundtrack for the VR-only Medal of Honor Above and Beyond game. This took the franchise back to its World War II roots, and it once again captures the sense of purpose that Medal of Honor 2010 and Warfighter lacked. However, because of the lackluster gunplay, and not really driving the needle in the VR space, sales weren't exactly what EA had hoped. And because of the history that we've seen with EA, as well as with Medal of Honor, I don't think we're going to be seeing another Medal of Honor game anytime soon. The Medal of Honor franchise still holds a very special place in our hearts here at Soulless Gaming, and after each one of us played through the games over the past few weeks, we couldn't help but hope that someday EA will take the games back to their roots and give us what we really want.